So this came in from a youngish person, like, I'd say, they didn't tell me how young they were, but, I'd say they're in their 20s. And they were just saying that these are the sort of things that they were thinking about, that them and their friends were thinking about and talking about. And, what did I think, or what did I have to say about them? And I was kind of shocked because there's like a little window into things that I hadn't really considered, because they don't go on for me, which is understandable. So the first thing they were saying was that was an issue for them was rejection and fear of missing out, and that even though nobody is anywhere doing anything or having parties or anything like that, the feeling or the fear of missing out is even more intense. So if they're on social media and they see somebody who looks like they're having even a slightly good time, the feeling of being excluded from that, particularly if it's in their circle of friends, and the amount of interpretation they read into it, like, oh, there's a big party going on there and I wasn't invited, is intense. It's more intense now, and that um, there it's a real struggle for them to uh, take action, or go to conclusions that are helpful, rather than going to conclusions that are really unhelpful for them. So it's in that situation, it's like, oh, there's a party on and I'm not invited. Okay. Which, when you sit back from it, it's like, well, that is crazy. Like, we're all in lockdown, so there's no party going on. Whatever way you interpret that picture, you can be sure that there is not a party going on because you just can't, like, it's you just like no one is in anyone's space. But I thought it was very sad to that it's that excruciating, because it's kind of like what I was saying earlier on about something coming to consciousness. Because pre-lockdown, you could say that fear of missing out, or FOMO as it's called on social media, um, was a thing. Yeah, there were big parties going on. There were people, who were able to take great pictures and, in the middle of dancing, and they looked brilliant. And there was a sense of, like, yeah, maybe that stuff on Instagram is real. Maybe those pictures, whenever I take a picture, I look terrible, but whenever, other people seem to have it figured out and they're having a great time. But now that's all gone. There's no big parties going on. There's nothing going on, really. And like that thing of fear of missing out, like when you take it's like when you start to deconstruct it, like missing out, like you can't be missing out on anything because there's nothing going on. There's just lots of other people, your friends, they're in their houses doing pretty much exactly what you're doing. Um, and they're just as afraid as you. So the only thing that's real in that fear of missing out is the fear, and everyone's feeling it. So you're not even missing out on that. You're all in the same kind of collective fear. But like it's a chance to look at feelings of rejection, which are awful. I mean, who wants to look at feelings of rejection? It's an awful feeling. But it's highlighted now, because logically you can kind of go, oh yeah, I'm looking at that picture and I'm feeling FOMO and I'm feeling rejected. And logically I know that there's very little solid reason for me to feel like that, because whatever is being triggered by me looking at that photo is making me think that there is a party or some sort of social gathering. Maybe it's just two people, and maybe there's just one person who's gone over to that other person's house for a drink, and why wasn't that person me? And why am I having that fun drink with that other person? Okay, that probably is all incorrect. Like, if ever there was a time to really be able to face how much that is being generated from inside you, now is the time. Because when's the next, like, Like, when is there going to be another lockdown? Well, there might be another lockdown, but you know what I mean? Like, in time, in your life, how crazy is this where we're all locked down? So you what an opportunity this is to really look at how my mind is projecting onto things, because you kind of know that it's probably, the chances of that happening, the chances of there being a party of two people or even three people that you are not invited to are so slim compared to what the chances were before the lockdown. Before the lockdown, as I said, there were parties, right? So your mind had a bit of, you know evidence that it could, use to sort of make you feel terrible. Now, no. Now there's nothing. All you know for definite is that you've got fear, and that horrible fear of rejection and fear that you're missing out. But you can bring your kind of consciousness to that and go, no, I know I'm not missing out, because the only thing that we're all experiencing is fear, and no one's missing out on that. So it is a great opportunity. It's a very hard thing to do. I know. I'm not trivializing how hard it is, but it is almost like being in a retreat where you get a chance to look at things in isolation. And the thing in isolation for this is fear of missing out. And the great thing is that that you've got so much evidence now that you can bring to it of like, no, I'm probably not missing out. So all I've just got is the fear. All I've got is this horrible feeling inside. And really, I'm sitting here at home. The only thing I've got any control over is how I feel. And if I'm feeling this kind of horrible feeling of rejection, and it's not real, you're so close then to tipping over into, yeah, if it's not real, I don't have to feel it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you force yourself not to feel something, but one of the beautiful things about consciousness is that it is transformative. So if you become conscious that that feeling of missing out isn't actually real, because it's not based in anything, there's no party going on, you're not actually missing out. All you're doing is being at home feeling this horrible feeling. So when you become conscious of that, that transforms it. It's not like you have to talk yourself out of it. It's not like you have to force yourself to feel happy or anything like that, but just kind of becoming conscious of, yeah, there's no party going on. It's just this feeling. And this feeling is just being generated out of nothing. That, becoming conscious of that, it starts to just dissolve it. Okay? I think I told the story about the lady with the diamond ring. I'll tell it again very quickly. And this relates to consciousness, right? The effect that consciousness has. So this lady has a diamond ring. She bought it for $10,000, euros, pounds, whatever. Loves the diamond ring. She's wanted one for a long time, and she loves it. Okay, so if you were talking to her, she would get it into the conversation. Her hand would kind of creep up to her face, and she'd be like, making sure that everybody saw her diamond ring. She would look at it, and she just loved it. She'd talk about it. She'd tell you how much she paid for it if she got a chance, and she really loved it. So a year after she bought it, she decided that she should go and get it valued for insurance purposes. She brought it to the valuer, and he said, I hate to tell you this, but it's a fake. It's only worth $100, euros, whatever, pounds. So she didn't fly into a rage and throw it away. She was like, oh, shit. Okay, fine. So what happened was, over the next, couple of weeks and months, she certainly stopped bringing it into conversation. She wasn't doing any of this up to her face anymore. She didn't talk about it anymore. Then she started to take it off when she was washing her hands, and she'd leave it on the sink. And it's not like she lost it, but it just wasn't around anymore. So it was either in a box at the back of a cupboard, or it was down the back of the couch, or whatever. But she didn't care. So that is how it works with consciousness in my experience. And it's very powerful. So the moment of consciousness is when she went to the valuer's office and he said, it's a fake. Then she realized that what she had thought was this much value was actually only this much value. You know, what she thought was a huge value was only tiny. And that's what happens. So you're sitting at home, you're looking at your phone, you go, you just suddenly feel your stomach drop and you're like, oh shit, they're having a much better time than me. Okay. And all the feelings of FOMO and rejection, you know, having a better time than me. And why didn't I get invited? Comes up. Then you can kind of go, well, hang on a second. Everyone's in lockdown. I am probably misinterpreting this photo. That's probably not what's happening here at all. Bear in mind, this is social media, okay? So some people are very good at social media, but you know, just as a general rule of thumb, you can say that every image on social media is not true. It's a fiction. It's a beautifully crafted fiction, you know? It's not like you look at movies and go, why am I in that car with James Bond? Or why am I James Bond? You know, you wouldn't think, you wouldn't get upset about it anyway. Not like this. So you're looking at the picture and you're going, okay, that's probably not what I think it is. So all that's real here, right in this moment, is this horrible feeling. That's the only thing that's real. And it's not based on anything. It's just misinterpretation. It's just coming up. It's something to face. It's just something I have inside me. That's the moment of consciousness, right? The way you kind of go, this is not real. And I've put a huge amount of value on this, that I want to be liked and included, and I want to be over there where things are better. Always. Things here are not so great. Over there looks much better. I want to be over there. Okay. You can spend your life continually chasing over there. But when you become conscious of something, when you go, this is probably not what's real. I'm looking at this picture, feeling this way. The only thing that's real here is what I'm feeling. And I have, that's what I have power over. And the power is my consciousness. I'm bringing my consciousness to bear on that. That the only thing that's real here is this feeling. And this feeling is coming because I have placed this huge value on this idea that over there is better than here, when over there isn't. I know over there isn't better than here because everybody is in their house at the moment. No one is actually doing things. This is just a photo that makes me feel like this. And this is a chance to just sit with this feeling. And just being conscious of it will be like that lady realizing that her diamond ring wasn't that valuable. And over time, she will just lose value for her. Right. So that's FOMO.